off the wall player of the year pick. Fanta, I'm going to you first on this one.
Mike Miles at TCU. Why not? Why not? Year of the Horned Frog is upon us in Fort Worth. Jamie Dixon has his lead guard, and he is a dog. Folks, if you haven't watched Miles play, I'm telling you what, he embodies what's right about college hoops with the way he plays the game with passion, the way he can fill it up, the way he defends. TCU can be a top 10 team, but if they are, to me, it means that Miles is willing them. It means that Miles is willing them. I think he can have that type of year. I like what he's surrounded by, guys, because I think that those guys all have unique traits that don't interfere with what Mike Miles does. So to me, Miles is the guy that's my little off-the-radar player of the year. I've been championing the Horned Frogs here, and if they're going to do it, although here's the problem, as I was doing this, I'm like, oh, he could win player of the year. Oh, he could win player of the year. Oh, he could win player of the year. They all play, all these guys play in the Big 12.
Yep. That's a big point, too. The guy I'm picking is off the wall, one, because he's a freshman, two, because he is a guard, and I've already talked about him.
He stole it. He stole it.
Yeah.
Don't take my guy.
Keontae George.
Oh.
Keontae George. I like he is that where you're at, too?
Yeah.
You have to select someone different.
I will. I got another one I can go with. Go ahead. Explain
He's
why.
going to go with Jaime Jaquez next. Am I right? Am I right?
No.
Damn it. Okay,
Well,
sorry.
that's obvious.
He's a first team All-American. That's like everyone's got a
not
first team
off
All.
the
He's not off the wall. I got one.
Well, I think
Explain your
I
point.
think some of these picks are off the wall because we all know it's going to be a big. Like college basketball is just trending that way. But I think Keontae George, you're gonna look back and we're gonna come around till March when all these things are voted on, and you're gonna be like, man, do you remember when he had 30 against Kansas? Do you remember when he popped off and had 10 in the last minute and 15 seconds against, I don't know, TCU? He was the best player on the floor when Mike Miles was there too. Like, he's going to have some of those games. That's the reason he's my pick. He's a freshman. It's off the wall. People are kind of getting around to the fact, is he going to be able to do it with both guards? Because he played well over the summer, but his counterparts weren't with him. When is he going to select to stand out? And it's going to be at the end of games.
Yeah. So the thing about Keontae George to me is I think that when you look at Baylor, they probably have the best backcourt in college basketball this year. I think is that fair? Do we agree with that? I think there's a real chance that he ends up being the leading scorer on that team, right? And I think that Baylor, if they are as good offensively as we think they're going to be, has a very real chance to be a national title contender. And I think that you need to be an elite scorer and the best player on a national title contender to be in that conversation. And if Baylor ends up being top 2, top 3 in the country, like a lot of us kind of expect them to be, then I think he's the guy that will end up reaping the benefits of that award. So I like your pick for Jaquez. I don't think people are talking about him enough, but he's a preseason first team All-American. I like Marcus Sasser, but again, he's a preseason first team All-American. It's kind of hard for me to sit here and say like those guys are dark horses when they're kind of already getting that level of attention, right? The guy that I don't think necessarily is getting enough conversation is Trace Jackson Davis, right? It feels like he's been kind of put on the back burner when it comes to like the best big guys in college. We all justifiably so. Everyone's talking about Armando, right? Everybody's talking about Oscar Tshiebwe. Everybody's talking about Drew Timme. Everybody's talking about Hunter Dickinson. Yes. Trace Jackson Davis is a guy that basically averaged like pretty damn near 20 and 10 for the last 2 years in college basketball. He's as explosive as anybody in college basketball. Indiana is another team where you kind of look at them and you say, they have a point guard that could be really good. Xavier Johnson could be really bad. He could also be really good. They have a great 5-man. If Race Thompson makes some jump shots, if these 2 freshmen come in, Hood Schifino and who's the other guy? Malik Renault. And if Miller Kopp starts making some more shots as well, all of a sudden you have a team that we know is going to be good defensively. They have a great 5-man. They have a solid point guard, and they can make shots around them. And that's kind of what you need when it comes to being a title contender. So I think Trace Jackson Davis is a guy that could legitimately average something like 21 and 12. And if he does that, Indiana wins the Big Ten and they actually make a run in the tournament, then That's someone that needs to be in that conversation. And it does not feel like he's been put in that conversation as well. All